Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Digital Dating with Anonymous Andrew. And tonight I sit down with someone who's a star, is a clearly rising star, an actress, a model, a podcast host, and her name is Meghane Lex. Meghane, welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, I'm doing great, and I'm sure the audience is doing great. And if the audience, and if I ever get around to putting this on YouTube, they will get to see Meg. Meg is in all her beauty. So she's a beautiful woman. And I'm not supposed to ask this, but this is going to set the tone for some of our questions. How old are you now, Meg?
I am 25.
25. You know what? I guessed that. And then I asked Google, and Google said 26. So,
Oh,
yeah. So Google thinks you're 26. We have to fix that.
I guess I'm turning 26 in August, so almost.
That's close enough. Okay. All right. Tell us a little bit about what you do and where you're a content creator, you're an actress. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into all of this, and then we'll go further from there.
All right, so I started creating content when I was honestly around elementary school, middle school. I used to post videos on YouTube to me like lip syncing or singing my own cover songs. But then I deleted that YouTube channel because I got embarrassed. So fast forward 10 years later, I started posting again during the pandemic. I was studying media production in college, and I was always into music. So I had a music video posted on YouTube. But then during the pandemic, I just started watching a lot of YouTubers. So I was really inspired. And then I started telling story times online, posting vlogs. And then I started posting on TikTok and more often on Instagram and Snapchat. And then I started during the actor strike, I created my own podcast because I wasn't really acting as much and had more time. So then that's how I created my podcast, Pod with Meg. And yeah, now I just post 2 episodes per week. And I love talking. And I still pursue acting. I'm actually filming something later tonight. So yeah.
Oh, good for you. Can you talk about it?
Um, so basically, it's I'm gonna be playing a girl. I can't really talk too much about it, but
It's okay. I know Hollywood or the TV world. If you signed an NDA or if you don't want to mess it up, don't. But
yeah,
okay. Okay, that's fine. Let's say we'll put it this way: when it's available, you'll talk about it on your podcast. I'm sure, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and we'll find it all about it on your social media, which I'll post all of that in the show notes. So, but I shall talk about your podcast a little bit. What do you like to talk about on? I did listen to some episodes, so I know, but the audience may not have. So, tell us a little bit about what you like to talk about in your podcast.
So on my podcast, so I have 2 podcasts actually. One I do solo called Pod with Meg Solo Sessions. And on that one, I tell stories about my relationships and I try to give advice and talk about self-love, love, just everything in that field. And on my other podcast, Just Pod with Meg, I have guests come over to the studio. I film in Hollywood. And the first half will be about the guests. For example, I'll have musicians, people who create content, and I'll learn about them a little bit. And then the second half, we'll play games and talk about relationships or just life in general and pop culture.
Excellent. Okay, that's perfect because that'll help me segue into what I want to talk about. I wanted the audience to get to know a little bit about you. So you're an actress, and podcasting, and when you said content creator, and you did some YouTube stuff, and you did some social media stuff. I've seen some of your pictures on social media. So you are. What do you do? Like, tell the audience on TikTok or Instagram. What do you kind of stuff you post?
On TikTok and Instagram, I'll post like my podcast clips, or I'll just post like random videos, me and my friends dancing, me dancing,
Cool.
just like relatable stuff.
Okay. I did not know you had 2 podcasts, and I first of all give you kudos because I have 3 podcasts, so I know how much work goes into that. All right, 2 of them are really my main podcast, so my audience knows who they are, so I have to go over them. But the third one is kind of just a goof off one, but I know the work that goes into it. The first podcast you mentioned was called what?
Pod with Meg Solo Sessions.
And that's about relationships?
Yeah, that's the one that's mostly just me talking about relationships and story times. Yeah.
Okay, let's start there. What do you see? So, and I don't know if you're in a relationship or not, but I don't know if that matters for this question. What do you see, or do you see a problem in modern dating, the culture that we're living in today?
I think the problem, or not, yeah, problem. It is kind of a problem.
It is.
Modern dating today is I feel like with social media, people kind of have this illusion that there's something out there, there's like something missing, when in reality, social media is kind of just a echo of what happens in real life. So people, I feel like, shouldn't prioritize social media over real life, but I feel like a lot of people do, and they're constantly, looking at all these things constantly and always thinking there's more, when just being grateful with what you have right in front of you is should be enough.
I think, and I hope maybe I came up with something not too long. I didn't come up with it. I've heard it. It's called FOBO, fear of a better option.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So you could be dating somebody, or you could be on a dating app, or you could be talking to somebody, slide into somebody's DM, and, I'm like some chick I might like, and we're chit chatting. But I'm kind of going through this now, so, and I can say this now because this is not going to air for a little bit. But I'm
Mhm.
dating somebody, and we're getting along, and things are great. But I think I could do better. So I had that fear of better options. So, like, see where I'm going. So, but you know what? It kills me to say this. At my age, we didn't do that 30 years ago because, A, we didn't have social media. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have dating apps. If we went to a bar or went to a concert or went to a picnic or a party, and we met a girl, and I liked her, and we got her phone number, that was it. Like, we started dating, and today there's so many options. So I can open up my Instagram, my TikTok. Oh, shit, there's 5 different social media platforms I'm on: Threads and Facebook, X,
Mhm.
and not to mention the 4 dating apps: Bumble, Hinge, Facebook, and I'm on an AI called Cupid AI. It's wild. There's so much out there. So I could be dating somebody who's cute, checks 8 or 9 of the boxes or whatever, but doesn't check all the boxes. So I'm like, I know there could be something better out there, and that's not good, because then I pull back. I'm dating, but I'm not giving her my all, and that's not fair to her.
Mhm.
Is any of that going on in your world? Do you see, or do your girlfriends talk about stuff like that?
Yeah, I actually have a friend who I talked to earlier today. She was telling me about how she was on a date with this guy who was literally on Hinge during the date. And I feel like used to be kind of like my exes, for example, were kind of like that. But I think now that I'm more comfortable with myself and now that I check off my own boxes, I feel like I don't kind of attract that anymore because I'm enough for myself. So I feel like I'm attracting guys that kind of reflect that same idea of me. But I think a lot of times, yes, like we do attract people, or we do get in situations where where we kind of settle. And I feel like when you are comfortable, when you are kind of like, yeah, when you're in a settling mentality, you're not very like, there's something missing in your own life that you feel like you should settle with someone else. So I feel like, yeah, it's never good to settle.
Wait. You're telling me that this friend of yours that you spoke to this morning, she went on a date with a guy, and while he was on the date, he was swiping through Hinge?
Yes.
What the fuck? Come on. Really?
He was really mean. He was really mean, and she was really upset about that, and she still stayed at his house. So I feel like it is kind of like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes there are people like that, but there are also people that are loyal. So it's like it's about finding the good eggs.
Was it
I think it was the first date, first or second date. No, no, they were actually out. They were at a restaurant.
And then they went back to the house.
I think so.
Okay, all right. But even that's not okay. See, that's a big difference between the younger generation and our generation. Women that I dated, you would never go back to a guy's house because the term serial killer, and we lived through the Craigslist killers, and we lived through all. Uh, I don't know if you've heard about the Gilgo Beach killings out here. I'm in New York. They happened 20 years ago. So there are some pretty fucked up guys out there. Girls, don't go home with a guy on the first night. You know, the only exception that I have to that is if you're on Tinder and that's mutually, it's like you're looking to hook up and that's what you're going to do. So yeah, if you're in Manhattan or LA and you hook up and you go to the guy's house and you do the thing and then that's it. But if you're looking to date somebody and go back to his house on the first night, you're
I
yeah.
definitely agree. You definitely never want to. You definitely want to make it be a slow burn. I feel like the faster it goes, the sooner it ends, for
Tell
sure.
me she didn't sleep with him that night.
No, I don't think she did.
I don't think she did. It, if he was going through a hinge, I personally, if I woman, because this is like etiquette. If you're on a date, the phone should be face down or in your pocketbook or in your back pocket or whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah, come on. There's a little bit of like human decency there. The minute you pick up the phone, like I was on a date a couple of weeks ago, not even, it was last weekend, and she did pick up the phone and she said to me, "I just have to check in with somebody. They're something about dog sitting. I don't know, but she excused herself and said to me, I please give me 30 seconds," and then the phone went back away, and I was like totally cool with that.
Mhm.
But those who would take their phone out and through the whole thing, come on. Okay, we're getting off topic, but these are like red flags on dates. That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of what's happening in the world of dating, because people are not going on second dates and people are just, so we got fear of better options. We got, what was the other thing we hit? There was something else we talked about. You brought it up. It'll come back to me.
Yes. Clear better options. And was it what was it?
I don't know. You know what? When I do the edit, I'll find it and I'll bring it up again. I wanted to ask you a couple of other things about who do you think has it harder dating today? Your generation or my generation?
I think it depends on the person. I would say my generation is very I feel like your generation probably has is more traditional than my generation. My generation is creating a lot of new traditions
New tradition. Yep.
very modern. It's kind of hard to keep up sometimes. Whereas your generation, like you, I feel like you guys are more traditional. And honestly, I feel like I prefer dating guys who are a little bit older because they're more traditional.
Excellent. Good answer. Okay. I actually had a question about that because there was something about that there are women are traditionally dating older men. Men in your age bracket are not mature enough. And I have a couple of friends in their 30s, female friends, and they're calling me all the time with the problems that guys today aren't, like they come with wrinkled shirts. They aren't paying for the she's smiling. They're not paying for the date.
Mhm.
Let me ask you. So we pretend I'm your age bracket or whatever, or maybe I'm 10 years old. If you like older men, all right, I'm 10 years older. And we go out for what would be an ideal first date for you? Not
I,
dinner, because we don't do dinner should not be a first date.
oh, really? Why?
Well, okay, maybe we struck oil here. For the for the guy, he's going okay. If we're going on a first date for dinner, is the guy paying or are you splitting the bill?
The guy, I think, in my opinion, should pay
Is
always.
paying. Okay. And that's the answer. That is my it's the correct answer. The guy pays on the first date.
Mhm.
But think about how many dates he might have to go on. Like any guy like in the past month, I've gone on 3 dates, and two of them were dinner dates. It gets expensive. The point I'm getting at is it gets expensive after a while.
Mhm,
So, I mean, I think it depends on the socio-economic dating pool you're shooting from,
mhm,
but the idea is dating on, if you listen to some other dating podcast, there's a lot of feedback about dating, going on dinner on the first dates or just no. Not to mention what happens when you get there and you order hors d'oeuvres and this guy is spewing food out of his mouth. You're stuck there for an hour and a half. How are you going to get out of that date? You're like, I got to get out of here.
yes. But I feel like mature people are not know how to eat food normally.
No,
I would hope so. But I see what you mean, but I also feel like you kind of before you even go on a date, I feel like you kind of get the vibe of the person. So you feel you kind of have a good idea of whether or not they're gonna spit food in your face.
yeah. Well, and I just gave that as an example. Let's say but let's say he brings up politics and he's a Trumper and he starts talking about how great Trump is.
Mhm. I then you have a mature debate.
You have a, what do you call it?
Mature debate.
Explain that.
I feel like well, I've actually been in a situation before where a guy had different political views as me, and I kind of just tried to see their point of view, and
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah, because I grew up in DC, so I was constantly around politics. So
okay.
I'm a little bit more kind of know.
Educated.
Yeah.
Educated. Yeah. Okay. That's okay.
And so I feel like, yeah, like I would kind of try to see where they're coming from and then give my point of view.
Okay, so politics was a bad example. You have a background in politics, and you can hold your own conversation in politics. All right, I'm running out of there. I've had stories of guys on first dates at dinners where the woman was like looking. Did you ever see that? There's a commercial for I don't know which car manufacturer, but they're sitting outside, and it's a first date, and the guy starts talking, and the woman, and she can't get a word in edgewise, and she pulls out her key fob and backs her I think it was Buick or something.
Mhm.
She backs her car up on the street because it's remote access, and then she says to the guy, "Can I'll be right back? I need to use the bathroom." She's sly. This is a commercial. You got to look it up. It's the funniest thing. She
Yeah.
gets in the car and takes off because it was an outdoor cafe, whatever. But the point is that shows why on a first date you don't go to dinner, because you need to have an exit strategy. You got to get out of there if something doesn't go right. But you sound like you might want you would hang in there for the hour and a half.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna say yes to someone for dinner, I feel like I have a
Okay,
yeah.
kudos to you. That's great.
Are you going out to dinner with strangers? Like I feel like you kind of have a good idea before you go
Well,
out.
like a video call, a couple of phone calls for what do you call?
Like
Get
phone
it?
call, text, or I feel like when I meet people, I'm not really into dating apps. I'm pretty old fashioned in that sense. So I feel like when I meet someone in person, I kind of get their vibe and
Okay,
I kind of know if I'm gonna like them or not a little bit.
okay.
Hmm.
I like you. You seem to have a good intuition. You got a good background. Being in DC must have been wild. I can only imagine the politics that you came up on.
Thank you.
It's just in my world of dating, the dinner thing is hard because it gets expensive. If you in 1 month a guy goes on 4 or 5 dates, your credit card is $600 at the end of the month,
Yeah.
and then up comes, so I'm dating this woman, and we went on meet and greet, which was a coffee, and that went great. The second date was a dinner, and that went great. And then the third date, we actually did a whole day thing, and so forth. That's the person that I was talking about, and it's going well. But I have been on first dates where in 5 minutes we sat down. I knew right away that I'm not going to see this person again. So, but I'm a gentleman, and I'm not going to. We ordered dinner, we ate, and I made sure she got home. I walked to her car. I always tell them, text me when you get home. But when she got home, I said, you know what? thanks for dinner. I mean, I didn't say thanks for dinner. Thank you for joining me for dinner, but I don't think we're a good match. And that was that, you know. But I blew $120 that night. And I didn't, had I maybe done a meet and greet over coffee or maybe something, I don't know, in the park or a walk on the boardwalk, I live very close to the beach. I might have gotten a better sense of that I wouldn't be into her. So
Yes, you gotta have to do the pre-interview
yeah.
or the main.
And we did. We actually think we even did a video call, but there was something about when she sat down within 5 minutes, I was like, no, 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 no. I don't
Mm.
remember what it was. It was like a year and a half ago. So,
Well, yeah, I guess the park is also a good date, or the museums. Like there are a lot of good free dates options as well.
yeah,
Mhm.
we have a lot more to do today. Years 20, 30, 40 years ago, we didn't have, it was either miniature golf, maybe bowling. Today, there's so much more to do. I was just listening to a podcast on the way home tonight, and she had 10 great ideas that you can do on a first date. Uh, Arcade bars, there was these escape rooms. It's all like all these fun stuff that you can do together, first or second date, to see if you're compatible. She had a list of compatibility, spark, and there was something else. She had like the three S's or something to tell whether or not you're going to be the right match for this person. So, okay, do you have any? You got a good dating story, bad or like? What's your worst horror dating story?
My worst. Oh, this is a good one. So this was a guy I met at a club, and he was like the complete opposite from my ex. He was like my ex was so nice, so caring, so gentle. This guy was like ultimate. I feel like people call this the overcorrection when you date someone opposite from your ex. He was bad boy, tattoos like head to toe. Well, not head to toe, like neck and then like toes. But or I'm not sure about toes. But anyways, he had a lot of
Hey,
anyway.
look,
Yeah, no, I love tattoos, but he was, yeah, he was just such a bad boy. And so we met at the club, but then afterwards he wanted to go hang out at his place. And I'm not the type of girl that the first night I want to hang out with you by yourself. So I invited my friend. So we
thank you.
yeah, like that. No, no, no. So I invited my friend and he invited his friend. We all hung out and he was eating all these very exotic snacks. We listened to music, like it was a vibe. But then he was like, he wanted me to sleep over. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. So then
On the
we,
first date, he wanted you to sleep over?
the first day, like I met you literally an hour ago. No
No.
way. So then I went home and I have a life. So I don't really like to sleep at guys' houses in general because I have my morning routine. I have everything I like to do. Like I have places to be, people to see.
Yep.
So we hung out one more time and he wanted me to sleep with him, but I still was like, no. So then he blocked me. And I was like heartbroken because I was like, we both like the same music. You like all these intricate snacks, da da da. So for 2 months, I didn't talk to him or anything. But obviously, like, I don't know, it kind of triggered something in me where I like was missing him and all these things because that doesn't really happen to me. I'm not gonna lie. He unblocked me and hung out again. And so we're like hanging out and he gets a phone call from his neighbor. And his neighbor says that his car is set on fire. His ex-girlfriend saw that I was over and set
My God.
it on fire. So he runs out and yeah, we go to the street and his car is literally in flames. And then afterwards, I kept talking to him. I don't know why, but I don't know. I was still into him. And that should have been the final red flag, but it was the day when I found a crack pipe in his house that I was like, ever
Okay.
see you ever again.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my dating horror stories.
Yeah. The bad boy syndrome. So let's talk about that for a second because I have had that for the last 20 years and was a bad boy. I happened to be an alcoholic in recovery, drug addict in recovery, and I got over 10 years but of sobriety. But I women went after me for the same reason. I had that bad boy look, you know, clubs and bars and I did very well
Mhm.
in the day. But I've come a long way from that, and I can't shed that image anymore. I mean, you can't really get rid of your tattoos, and I guess I could do certain things, but you got to be careful with the guys with the crack. Where'd you find the crack pipe? How did you find it?
I was looking for my purse and I like lifted up. I think it was like it was something on his desk. I lifted it up and the crack pipe was underneath it.
But dummy, you don't leave shit like that lying around. I'm not excusing it. I smoked crack for years, so I know what it's like. But if you got a woman coming over, you got to hide, you got to clean up, dude.
Yeah, he was very messy.
what was what was? So, are you in a relationship now?
No, right now I'm single. Yeah, I'm single. I am like dating, but I'm single. I
Okay,
honestly, I don't know. I kind of see myself getting back together with my ex-boyfriend. Not the same guy, but someone else.
let's talk about that for a second because there's a lot of controversy, and it. Well, let me explain when I say that controversy. There's in the podcast world, and I stick to the dating podcast world. I listen to a lot of dating podcasts, and everybody says, "Do not go back to your ex." It is only asking for so doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is a definition of insanity. That's what they say, right? So if you think your ex has changed, what broke you up? Did you break up with him, or he broke up with you?
We broke up because we were just very toxic. Like I was throwing drinks at him at the club, like he was pulling out my hair extensions. Like we were just very toxic. But I feel like now that I did 75 hard, I don't drink anymore, and I'm just way more. I feel like last year or when we were together, yeah, it was like yeah, pretty much like a year ago. I feel like I was not in like my best headspace. So I feel like now that I am, I feel like I don't know, we could try again.
Okay, good for you. And the fact that you're not drinking and that you're in a different mindset. But what about him? What has changed in him?
See, that's I don't know. So that's why I'm like maybe I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like the reason only reason why I feel like I've been ever since we broke up or like everything. I still think about him and I still like we'll run into him and all these things. So part of me feels like we're I don't know, we're unfinished.
Have you guys texting, chatting on social media?
So we don't really talk like that, like at all. We ran into each other recently, but I don't know, like ever since we ran into each other, I've like been thinking about him and like I don't know, we're probably gonna see him over the weekend at a party. So we'll see.
Okay, I'm in the same boat. I This podcast started about 3 years ago because I was with a woman, a Latina woman that I was head over heels for. She was, I thought at the time, the best thing that ever happened to me. We were madly in love until she wasn't, about a year and a half in. And she started cheating and she was actually had an OnlyFans page, whatever. I
Mm.
found out all this stuff. And yeah, I was about to go off on a tangent, but I got to be careful. Let's just say that ultimately, after 3 years, I couldn't take the gaslighting and the lying anymore, so I left,
Mhm.
and it was hard. It was really hard. So this, I woke up one day and I said, I got to start a podcast. I just want to tell my story, and that was 3 years ago. Now it's morphed into just a dating. It's not really about her anymore. But guess what? I ran into her
Oh.
just 2 weeks ago. And it wasn't in person, it was on social media because she had blocked me and I had blocked her, and we had gone no contact for almost 2 years. No contact, nothing.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, one day I'm going through my Instagram and up comes a reel from her. And I'm like, holy shit, how can this be? The only way is that she would have unblocked me, and then Instagram would have said, hey, you both, the algorithm will check your contacts and my contacts, right? So if you both have the same phone number, and all of a sudden I'm getting her reels, and she reads tarot cards, so she's sending me like these messages and tarot cards, and she speaks Spanish and I speak Spanish. So I was reading the tarot, like listening to her, and she was saying, I miss you and I can't imagine my life without you, but you're intoxicating. I don't we're not good together. So almost like your situation. So, and
Yeah.
I'm like conflicted because I know that if I go back to that, she's only going to be good for a month or two or three, but she'll So what makes you think it'll work the second time? That's where I'm going.
I
I
feel
don't
like
think mine will work the second time.
the reason why I feel like it would work the second time is because I feel like the first time was kind of just like a trial run.
Okay.
I feel like it really
But the
was.
trial run failed.
Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you don't really realize like the value in the
Okay.
process. And
That
I
I get. That I get. Okay. Okay.
I don't know. I just feel like we just have so many similarities and everything. Like I've dated other guys that I don't have that spark with them. You know what I mean? I just feel like
I
even
get it.
you know what I mean. And like running into him again, I think all the feelings I thought were done are still kind of there. So it's not like I feel like I can't be with someone else until that is finished. If that makes
Okay,
sense.
I get that. So it's not, I was going to say closure, but it's not. You need to see this through. You need to
Yes.
go back with him and see where it goes. And if it fails the second time, then you can say, "Hey, listen, I gave it a shot, I gave it a try," and then maybe you can move on, or it might work.
Hmm.
Well, what are you looking for? You're
Well,
25, you're still young, but are you looking for a long-term relationship? Are you looking for the start of what is my iMac is crazy with these like are you
yeah,
looking for love and family and all that? Or are you just looking to
no,
focus on your career and
I do. I want to focus on my career, and I feel like I'm in a place where I'm happy with my career. Like, I have a good manager, I have a good agent, I'm happy with my podcast. I feel like, and I have like a good group of friends. I feel like everything in my life is finally in order. Whereas with him, when we were dating, I didn't have everything in order. So I feel like now I want to be with someone I wouldn't be with someone I don't see myself long term with. And I do want someone I want to be with long term, someone I want to grow with. And I feel like, yeah, he was someone we shared the same values. We just were very toxic. But now that I'm, not a toxic queen anymore, I feel like it could
yeah, well, let's hope he is too. Okay.
work.
Here's a great question. Your generation, so Gen Y and the millenniums, you are really the creators, the content creators of social media. What do you think that your generation is creating today that my generation is consuming? And how do you keep the line between them? You're creating content that I watch, which is very odd because I'm 40 years older than you, but I like what your content is like. So, no, as I'm coming across your feed, what is it about the young generation's content that the older generation is consuming?
I think part of it is also newness, like newness and freshness. Like it's something
Agreed.
that you haven't maybe seen before. And also is it's also entertainment. Like I feel like people and I watch people's content who are a lot older than me as well, but I think it's all about the energy you give off. Some
Yep.
people are craving a certain energy of youthful energy or whatever it might be. And it might not even be about age, just energy. And yeah, that's something that people might like to consume.
Okay. Good answer. And I agree. There's some vitality about your youth that gives us, but I do see there's some, I'm looking, you know what I see a lot of on TikTok and Instagram are these housewives like in their 30s and 40s that are home all freaking day. And I guess their husbands are off working, whatever, what they're, maybe they're domestic mom, whatever. But they're putting out some pretty funny fucking stuff on some of the reels are hysterical. So, anyway, and there's nothing to do with dating. I just thought I would throw that in there. So, okay, tell us. So we were talking about some of your worst stories. What would be your best date? What was the sweetest thing a guy did for you on your first date? Or
Well, I've had guys like surprise me with like a cute hotel room, like champagne, a cute gift from Dior, like stuff like that. But I think the nicest thing a guy ever did to me was in high school. And this is why, like, when I talk about my most recent ex, I think it would work again was because in high school, I dated this guy who we tried dating for a while, but then it just didn't work. We were toxic. And then we broke up for a few months. He went to I don't know if it was a rehab or what it was, but he was gone for 2 months, didn't come to school when I broke up with him because he was lying. And then when we got back together, we didn't end up working out, but after I saw that through, I was able to move on. But back to the story, he for homecoming, he he got me out of the house. He talked to my mom and sister and was able to get me out of the house. And then he got all these balloons and filled them up with note cards inside the balloons. And it was a scavenger hunt. And that was the way. And then he took me to like the mall, my favorite smoothie place, and all these cute things. And then that was how he asked me to go to homecoming with him. And that was just a really cute, thoughtful thing he did. I really like that.
So he did his research. He knew what would make you smile.
Yes. And I really
What? Yeah. What? So let's quickly switch to something that we haven't brought up yet. Red flags. So you're on a date with. So I hope your ex and you hook up this weekend and it works out. But let's say it doesn't, and then the next week you said you're not on any dating apps, right?
mm-mm.
Okay. So you go to I don't know, your next club or bar and you meet somebody and you guys end up going out. Maybe he takes you to dinner. Okay. Which I don't recommend, but go to
Mhm.
dinner. What would be a red flag that tells you that is a turnoff to you, like on the first date?
Red flags would be he brings up other girls.
Good.
He is just like some people, I don't like it when guys don't like to make eye contact. I find that kind of unattractive
Good.
and almost insecure.
Good.
So if he's not making good eye contact, if he is on his phone a lot, red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't open the door for me, red flag.
Oh, good for you. Good. All right. So you do have some good old tradition. I like to. We older folk think that that chivalry is dying, but I like to hear that because I've been listening to these podcasts and the women out there, this feminism saying, or I don't know if it's woke or whatever the hell they're calling it today. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying, I'm just hearing that women don't want men to pick up the check. They want to split it. They don't want them to open up the door. They don't want A, B, and C. Finally, I'm hearing that, not finally, but you're saying that you do want to be treated like a lady, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, good.
And I feel like a lot of those girls, they probably do want to be treated like a lady, but they're probably a little scarred. I feel like when you're not dealing with your trauma, you almost feel like you don't deserve some nice things. And I feel like I kind of went through that a little bit when I was a little bit younger, which is crazy that I was like that when I was younger, but I'm glad I was like that back then because now I'm like, no, I want to be treated like a lady. And I think if you don't treat me that way, I rather be with someone who does because guys are chivalrous and they are out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And guys who listen or maybe listening and don't, if you haven't been to her social media, go check it out. And I'll choose one of she's in her bio. She put up 6 pictures and they're just phenomenal. She's a gorgeous young lady. So, like, I could set you up on a date with somebody from my audience, but you got your own thing going on. So, Meg, I think we could talk for another hour because there's so much I think we can learn from you, and maybe I'll have you back. I'm going to take a couple of weeks off for the summer, but I'd love to have you back. Let's begin to wrap it up with how about giving the audience a little bit about, first of all, where we can find you on your social media, but what's a piece of advice that you could give anybody in my audience that's listening, solid dating advice, and it could be anything that you've learned that you want to pass along?
I would say you are the energy you attract. So if you want a really good person, I feel like you should look into yourself and see if you are the person you want to attract. Because I really believe that to be in a relationship, a good, healthy relationship, you have to be healthy with yourself because
Correct.
that kind of whatever you're feeling will only get better or worse. And you want to have a good foundation within yourself. And yeah, you just want to, you get what you give. So when you give good energy to someone, you get that back. So take care of yourself and your energy, and you will just attract good people.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and I agree. And it's about the universe, but you need to love yourself first and take care of yourself first, because then you'll attract that type of person. If you don't take care of yourself and if you don't love yourself, you're going to attract somebody who's not in a good place, and then that's how toxicity begins. So, tell us where we can find you on some of your favorite platforms that you are?
Um, I'm on social media, obviously, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Megan Lex, and my podcast is Pod with Meg. Here's a little plug.
Nice. She's got merch already. Cool. Very cool.
And yeah, so check me out there. And my podcast is available wherever you watch and listen to podcasts.
And I have, and it's cool. Guys, listen to it. I checked it out. I think I even followed it because it's refreshing. So I got to be honest. I'm listening to a lot of podcasts. I got about 30 in my library, but because I just need to keep checking in with my either competition or my colleagues and to see what the trend is. But Meg is a new up and coming content creator, and she's got some really fresh ideas. And I want to hear what she's doing, and she's doing a great job. So
Thank you.
let's maybe get together again. I'm taking the summer off, so maybe in August or October we'll hook up and we'll talk about another date because I think there's much more I can learn from you. I really do.
Thank you. I had so much fun talking with you, and I hope you
Yeah.
enjoy your summer break.
Yeah, well, I really need it. I have a day job, so the night job is 3 podcasts. So I come home, I didn't even eat dinner yet, so it's just interview, editing, promoing. You get, I think you. I don't know if you have a team, but you do know how much work goes into podcasting, right?
Yeah,
So
I do
yeah,
it on my own, and it is very time
there
energy.
you go.
So
Okay.
I feel you.
Okay, everybody. Megan, Lex, thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you soon. And I'll put everything in the show notes for everybody to find you on social media and her podcast. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.